All right, good morning. Well, welcome back. We were out without power the last 2 days, and of course I didn't have my GoPro charged, but had a lot of batteries charged, so we were able to get a little bit of work done. So just a quick update on the siding here. We were on the easier side, so try to get a little method of what we're doing here, but we were able to get the rest of these furring strips on, these three. Ended up shimming them out to meet where our roof line was as best we could. I know it's not perfect by any means, but definitely a lot closer than what it would be just nailing it up. Just trying to meet the waviness of the block and then the old true 2x4 studs up in the attic there. But once we got those on and looking pretty good, we were able to put the vinyl corner up, and also did a drip edge on the bottom here. So got a drip edge for a little bit of water control around the whole thing here on the horizontal pieces. So, and then the bottom we have a more drip edge underneath, and then our vinyl has a few drain holes every couple feet just to let the water out. And then of course that metal drip edge will hopefully kick out any water away from the foundation a little bit. Probably not 100% necessary on my setup here since it's on slab, but definitely doesn't hurt. Not sure if that's exactly the common thing to do, but I mean, I'm not a roofing or siding guy, so you know, if you guys have a different way you do it, definitely leave it in the comments. Would be a good place to see where everyone else is doing things. Framed up around my dryer vent. Need to change that to either black or the Manor color that I got from Menards here. It's like a dark gray. Then we'll trim around that. What else here? We got the gable vent is in 18 by 24, I think. So framed around it to bring it out flush with the channel, J channel up on top. Flashed it with Z-tape, and then we put our vent in and just basically cut that out with the router, the flush trim router. So hopefully you'll see that on the other side. LP smart side around the windows. So true 1x6 on the bottom sides, and then a 1x8 across the top. Need to add a little bit more of a treated 2x4 on the top and bottom just to give me a place for my drip edge, my windowsill flashing to go above it, and then on the bottom I need to put some J channel around it for the siding to go into. And then we have our brake. So originally I was hoping to have my brake, so the sheets are only 10 feet long. I guess I should start with that. The vinyl sheets are only 10 feet, just like you would do a true board and batten. The sheets are, I think, only 10 feet long, and then you'd have your battens in between. So my original plan was to break right at the ridge line for the gable, but my 1x4 here, I should have used either 1x6 or 1x8 to give me more room, because where it landed on this end would have had this little like 1 foot dog leg for this old addition they had put on before. So really didn't look that good, and I think it would look better to just have the brake up on the gable on an even distance. So went with that instead. So that's about 9'10", and it landed right on one of the furring strips I had already put on. I could have put another furring strip across the top here, but with how wavy this wall is, that's a lot of work. That's, you know, 2 hours of work to probably put something like that up, and that was already there, landed in a good spot. So we'll have the brake right there. For the brake, I have a piece of J channel. Let's see if I can find some. So I have my piece of J channel, we'll say upside down, like top like this, to receive the siding from the bottom here, and then a piece of Z flashing. So let's see if I have a piece over here. Z flashing here. So this Z flash, obviously it just looks like a Z. It goes over top of the first piece of J channel, and then the second piece sits on top here. So it's a little bit longer than it needs to be on the one end, because it actually covers the whole piece of J channel, but that's okay. I mean, as long as the water is getting away. So it might be hard to see from down here, but we have the J channel underneath, and then the Z channel, the face of the Z channel is sitting over top of that lower J channel, and then another piece of J channel on top like this to receive the bottom part of the upper set. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes on. We're pretty much ready for siding on this side. As soon as I get I need some 1.5 inch closed cell boards for this side, since I ended up using 2x4s instead of the 1x4s like the front and back. But as soon as we get that and I drill in my oven vent spot, then we will be ready to go for siding. But until then, we're gonna get our furring strips up on the hard side. It's way more out of plumb and pretty bad. So we're gonna get that worked on today, get our furring strips up, and then we'll be ready to pretty much side the whole house. So keep an eye out for that, and catch up with you soon. Okay, quick update while my dad gets that vent trim made up. This is kind of what we're dealing with here. So in our effort to plumb this wall and get it on plane the best we can, we've been doing these string lines about every 2 feet. So like this point is set, it has to meet that point. And the wall is not great. So you know, down here at this wall, we're looking at like 1.25 inches in the middle, and almost 2.5 at the bottom. And same thing over here, a place like this, you know, you have pretty much nothing, 1/4 inch. By the time you get to the bottom, I hit the line a little bit, but you're probably at 1.75 inches. So I mean, just how far out of plumb that is unreal. That the block work is just so bad on this building. But when you come to these on this first part before you get to that back addition, you know, we're 1.75 inches here, and we're about 1.25 inches to top. So I mean, it's better, but it's still not good at all. So I'm gonna try and get these 1x4s and 2x4s in here, shim them all out, get this thing plumb, pull our window out. Right now I just cut my gable vent through the sheathing, got the sill taped up. My dad's making the framing for that so we can get it trimmed out, and that'll be the next step, is get this window in. We're gonna start from the top down on this side rather than the bottom up like the other side. I think that might go a little bit faster, so we'll see. But still gonna be a lot of work here, and we'll see how it goes when we're done. All right, another update for you guys. So finally got through the gable part since we're starting from the top down. Didn't think about it, but we moved that one. We were sticking with our 16 inches, but then we still had our break point, like the other side where there's a 10-foot piece of siding from the bottom up. So we had to put another one underneath that just to have a clean break at 10 feet. This wall is a little bit taller than the other side since it actually slopes downhill here. And right now we're just working on our first 2x4 for the ram set. And so that one actually worked out pretty well. I think it's only about an 1/8 inch out farther from where it needs to be. This one, we ended up planing down. We broke this one up because this window, the old blocking in here is pretty boogered up. So we're gonna try to work our way around that. So my dad's actually planing down a whole 2x4 down to about 1.125 to 1.25 inches or so. And then we're just shimming it out as we go, hitting it with the ram set. And that seems to be going pretty well so far, but we're only on the first one, so we'll see.
Where's your nose? Where's your nose? Show me your nose. Up. Okay, we'll go over here. You like watermelon? Yeah.
That one, man. I have to go get another paper towel. You okay? Yeah.
We moved it. Oh.
Doesn't matter, this is the new Windows opening.
More?
More. 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 Right there.
Huh. Mess me up.
Yeah. Alright, I got it. Alright, windows in. Just cleaning up these last little bit of shims here. Ended up just avoiding the ram sets on these because they weren't much good cinder blocks to put them into, so we just kind of screwed them in to the old windowsill that we had in there. So have a 36-inch door window jamb by 40, and we're looking at 37 by 41. So should have a little bit of room to play. Not much we can do about sloping the sill here. I mean, we could put a little piece of plywood on top of here, but yeah, I mean, we're gonna flash all this now and try and get this window back in, and that's about all we can do. Okay, so the window's in. Of course, that was a struggle like everything else with this project. So we got these 1x8s or 2x8s on the sides all the way around. That way we learned from the other side that we need room for both of the LP Smart side and then the J channel, so it's good to have all that backing. For this, we actually had to plane down most of these to about 1.25 inches and then shim them out that extra 1/4 inch on the bottom, because the top was 1.25 inches and the bottom was usually 1 inch to 1.5 to 1 5/8. Got our sill cleaned up and flashed in there, so that'll be ready for a nice wooden windowsill like it was before. Use the zip stretch tape for the first one, and then a couple runs of the regular tape. I just wanted to show this quick detail before I flashed the rest of the window. Is we use these composite wedges here underneath. That way, it's like these guys here. You see them at the wedges in Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever big box store, and they're composite, so that way if there's ever any chance that water gets underneath here, these little wedges give it that little chance to weep out and get out of that sill. Of course, we had silicone all the way around the top, the top and the sides, none on the bottom. And we're gonna get the rest of this flashed with flashing tape. I'm gonna go all the way down to the block, since we have a nice gap down here now from where we had to shim it out. But yeah, so that'll call it a day for us. Just get this flashed, and next time we should be able to finish most of the furring strips on this side, and then hopefully start getting some siding up. So that'll be fun, actually, to see some progress rather than working all day to not get much progress done, or not look like much progress. But when you have to customize everything, it does make things go a lot slower. So I'm gonna get this window flashed, and we'll see you next time. Okay, well, it's getting close to the evening now, and not much battery life left on the GoPro, so I just wanted to do a quick update here. So we were able to get in these lower furring strips, but they aren't quite out as far as they need to be. So these are our plumb lines. This one was shimmed out properly, but once we get down to this one, it needs to be shimmed out so far, you know, maybe a ½ inch on this one, 3/4 of an inch here, and probably almost an inch on the bottom ones. It has to be shimmed out so far that the ram set with a 2½ inch nail, it only grabs like maybe 3/8 of an inch of the concrete, and it won't stay in. It actually just keeps like blasting the concrete out and the concrete block out, making it fall off. So I'm gonna try to get some of the 3¼ I think they're 3 or 3¼ inch nails, and to use with the ram set for when we shim it out, and we'll give that a shot. But for now, we just have these put up as, you know, the corners up for when the stone wraps around this side a foot. And we have these up to where we're going to come back in and just put regular 1x4s behind here and plane them down, and we'll shim them here and then screw them to these boards. It takes a little bit more work. It's kind of like double the effort here, but it's just so far off now that it's hard to get a good base to it and be able to shim it out and then actually shoot it in with a ram set. I did get this corner on. This was a big pain. I mean, you can see how far out it was. So this is the block work that we're dealing with. We have a 1x4 on the bottom with a shim up to nothing at the top. So, and then of course, if I put my level on this, it's pretty close. So I'm not too, you know, gonna complain too much about that. But we also plumbed it this way. Not as important, but I mean, it does help a little bit with just nailing the corner on later. So my dad actually came up with this idea. This is pretty good, where since we couldn't use the 2.5 inch ram set nails because this was shimmed out so far it wasn't grabbing, we actually used the 1.5 inch with the 1x3 or 1x4 wherever we could here, and down here with nailed these on, and then used shims to screw the 2x4 into these. And then for these we were able to get the ram sets in because it wasn't pulled out as far, and then it was flush on the top. So that was a good idea. So hopefully we'll be able to use that a little bit more here. But for now, this wall has been really bad. So we're kind of fighting. You know, we're able to put a 2x4 on this side, then it goes down to a 1x4 after 2 feet, and then stays at a 1x4, and then goes down to like 1/2 inch down there. So this wall is going to take some time, but we're going to get after this a little bit and probably work on it more tomorrow, and hopefully it won't take too long, but this will still take some work for sure. So all right, back to a time lapse and try to finish this wall, and then see what materials we need for tomorrow. Okay, well, it's the next day, and I didn't really film much so far this morning, but we just finished the furring strips, so I wanted to catch you up on this stuff. So remember yesterday we had our corner piece set in place, and of course you could remember how far out it was down here versus up top. So this is now plumb, and we had most of our top boards in, but we needed to finish the bottom. So try to show the bottom here. So I still have a couple of our string lines up, just some washers on the bottom as like a makeshift plumb bob. But yeah, you can see we ended up furring out or shimming out most of these furring strips, but some of them, like down here, you know, we were furring out or shimming out so far that I had to use a 3-inch ram set instead of the 2.5. A lot of these we ended up just ram setting the board to the wall and then planing down this treated 1x4 to about 1/4 of an inch, and then we would step up to 3/8 of an inch or wherever it needed to go. And I mean, we just did this. This was a very tedious process, but the furring and the 2x4s out was just not working because they needed to go out so far that I wasn't able to get the ram set nails in. So but they are nice now. I'd say this whole wall is probably within, I dare to say, 3/8 maybe in and out. So hard to tell, but looking at it in person, it does have a couple little spots here and there, but nothing too major. Certainly nothing I can't live with. So this will be it. So I'm going to start putting some trim up. So we'll do our J channel across the gable, our J channel, double J channel on our horizontal slat here. Of course, I'll start with our corners. So I'll have you guys down here while I do this corner down here, and then corner on that side. One more detail to show here is we got this corner done too. So again, this is my corner here. We had a 2x4 nailed to the wall, and then a 1x4 that goes to nothing. So I hand planed this whole board to get it lined up plumb. But now whenever he puts the stone on, that stone is only about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. So I'll have a couple pieces of exterior cement board to put in here as a spacer. So when we get there, we'll get there. And then I have my internet box trimmed out as well. For the the meter box here, I have some 3/8 inch thick PVC, black PVC trim boards. So now that this is trimmed out, I will I'll get my black PVC board on here, rip it down to this 3 inch or 2.5 inch thickness all the way up, run it along the side. Then I'll have to take my straps off here a little bit and slide in another piece behind here to hide this part of the treated plywood that I have on there. So that'll make that look nice. And then I'll throw my J channel right up against that, and you'll hopefully won't even pay attention to it. And then just little miscellaneous things here, like reattaching my grounding station, and yeah, hopefully it'll start looking like something soon now. But the hard part, I don't want to get too confident yet, but it seems like the hard part is pretty much wrapping up. So now I'm going to start putting trim up, and once the siding starts going up, it should actually start looking like something. So all right, I'm going to start on this corner, and we'll see where we're going from there.